As far as reality TV shows go, Drag Race has historically been pretty reluctant to eliminate frontrunners. If I'm being really generous, the only times they've really done it have been on Gina, Willem, Max, technically Nina West, and arguably Plasma. In today's video, I will be looking at times where Drag Race almost eliminated frontrunners, ultimately decided against it, and looking at what would have happened if they did. To give a shorter example, and since she inspired the video, I'm going to start off with Sapphira on season 16. Going into the makeover, Sapphira was the clear frontrunner with 4 wins, Plain Jane was second with 3 wins, then Nymphia at 2, Q with 2 wins and a bottom, and then finally Morphine with a top 2 and 3 bottoms. Assuming track records are completely ignored in this timeline, Plain Jane is going to get the win, Q and Nymphia are going to place high, and then Morphine is going to send home Sapphira in the Miss Me More lip sync. It would be a huge exaggeration to say this would be the most shocking elimination of all time, but given Sapphira's track record, it would at bare minimum be top 5. Going into the advertising challenge, Nymphia is going to keep her win, and then the bottom 2 is relatively easy. Based on the original season, I think it's pretty fair to say that Plain was better than Q in the challenge, and I have to assume that after 6 bottom placements almost back to back, Morphine would not be particularly confident either. Plain is going to get saved, and then Q is going to be eliminated in 4th place. Episode 15 is the Lollapalooza, and I'm just going to say that Sapphira is going to take Morphine's slots. In the first lip sync, Sapphira is going to beat Geneva to $1 Million Baby, then the second lip sync is going to be Sapphira and Mirage to This Time I Know It's For Real, and this is so close that I'm not willing to make a call either way. In the third round, Megami picks Maya and beats her to We Got the Beat, then wins the final round against either Sapphira or Mirage. I know that in the past I've gassed up Megami a lot, but I truly do think that Morphine is the only queen on this cast who beats her to Everybody Dance Now. Then episode 16 is the finale, and it's a bloodbath. I think Morphine does pretty well in her performance, but her track record is going to take her out in 3rd, then Nymphia beats Plain to Padum Padum. I feel like Plain would probably do pretty well here, possibly better than Sapphira without the vampire gag, but it's Nymphia. I know this entry didn't have too major of changes, I just wanted to start with a relatively simple concept. The next example where Drag Race could have eliminated a frontrunner is Shea Coulee in the Season 9 makeover. In this case, let's say production and the queens in the cast are a bit more sympathetic to Nina, so she decides to actually try in the lip sync. I won't deny that Shea is a good lip syncer, but her best was barely able to squeak out a win over Nina, who is actively trying to get sent home. Shea is getting steamrolled. The final 5 challenge is the ball, and Nina's odds are all over the place. On one hand, she was pretty solid in the previous design challenge and had some really good runway concepts. On the other hand, she struggled to execute a fair amount of those concepts, and she has now been in the bottom 3-4 times and would be even more checked out than she was during the makeover. With this in mind, I'm gonna go with the safest option of Sasha getting the win. She was high on the original season, Trinity the Tuck is gonna get bumped up from low to high, Nina places anywhere between low and high, and then Peppermint sends home Alexis. The next challenge is category is. Nina does generally fine, but is eliminated in 4th place. With Nina having mopped the floor with Shea and slayed the lip sync, there is now only 3 weak lip syncs out of 10, and the season no longer has the reputation of weak performances that led to the lip sync for the crown. Peppermint did well in the remix, and Nina has a worse track record than her, so she is getting cut. Sasha, Trinity, and Peppermint all fight it out in the finale. Sasha not only has the best track record here, but realistically has one of, if not the best individual performances of all time, and still wins this season. Shea is going to come back for All Stars 5 and win, so even if the journey isn't quite as fun, the overall results are pretty much the same. Next up, we have Anya Nerve on season 17. I completely agree with the double save we got in the makeover, but if there had to be one winner, I would say Jules won, maybe 51-49. With that in mind, we go into the branding challenge without Anya. Jules originally won, so she's gonna keep her win. Lexi originally placed high, so even if that's completely ridiculous, she is going to stay high. Sam and Susie are going to lip sync Love Child, and since Susie did a fine job and was production's winner pick after Anya, there will be a double save. There is also the factor that the Lollapalooza format only works with 10 queens, so Susie stays. Episode 15 is the Lollapalooza. Anya is not a great lip syncer, but she really lucks out with Susie's spot. In her first round, she's going to beat Joella to Training Season, and then in her second round, she's going to beat Lucky to We Found Love. Then in round 3, she loses to Corey King, who is winning the Lollapalooza in pretty much any timeline where Susie is not there. In the finale, Susie does well across the board and is going to lip sync for the crown to Abracadabra against Jules and possibly also Lexi. Either way, it is not going to matter. If Anya's out of the equation, Susie's fan support and lip syncing are going to beat any combination of queens on this cast, and she wins the season. Next up, we have Bosco and Angeria on season 14. Both scenarios are really similar, so I combine them into one, starting with Angeria. If we are going just based on lip syncs in the Lollapalooza, Jasmine beats Angeria to Love Don't Cost a Thing, and then Bosco sends her home to Swept Away. In the Rusical, Jasmine takes Angeria's role and places safe, with the rest of the placements being the same. The big difference here is going to be in the roast. I think it's incredibly likely that Jasmine would bomb the roast, as would Deja, Georges, and Daya. Thanks to production stupidity, this episode needs to be a double elimination, so we're gonna have Bosco win, Camden and Willow high, and then the first ever bottom 4 with 2 queens going home. Deja was the worst in the lip sync, and Georges had completely checked out at this point. On the other hand, Jasmine would not miss out on an opportunity to take out Daya and is going to fight like there's no tomorrow. Her and Daya are comically going to end up being the 2 queens to stay. Episode 14 is the Rumix, and given how Jasmine did in the girl group challenge, Camden wins, Daya is high, Bosco is low, and then Jasmine and Willow get the final double save, since why not at this point? We've already had 6 non-eliminations, so what's the 7th? Jasmine does well in the finale and gets cut alongside Bosco and Daya. Camden and Willow lip sync for the crown, Willow wins, and the rest is herstory. Then in the Bosco scenario, let's say the chocolate bar did not go to Bosco and she is eliminated on the Rusical. Without Bosco there in the roast, Willow is likely getting the win to present her as more of a frontrunner, while Camden and Angeria are high. With Bosco gone, we are now at the final 6, so we no longer need to double save. Deja gets saved by her literal last joke, and Daya is going to shock eliminate Georges. Episode 14 is the Rumix, Camden wins, Daya is high, Willow is bumped up to low, and Angeria sends Deja home to telephone. Since there have not been a million double saves and sachets in this timeline, I feel like production is no longer going to sunken cost their way to a final 5. Regardless, Willow and Camden are once again going to be the top 2, and Willow's uncontroversial win becomes even less controversial. Moving on, we have Jimbo in the All-Stars 8 Rusical, and all of you are going to have to bear with me on this one. I am fully aware that James was almost completely dead on arrival the second she hit the bottom a second time. For this hypothetical, we're going to say that the bottom 2 are Jimbo and James, and the rest of the cast looks past their personal relationships and sends home the queen who has gone 3 for 5 in challenges. Episode 8 is the Improv Challenge. James takes Jimbo's role and places high, Lala Ree gets the win, and Jessica Wilde is high. Candy Muse is bumped down from safe to low since she no longer has the shield of her Jimbo storyline, and the bottom 2 is Alexis and Kahana, with Kahana going home. Episode 9 is the Design Challenge. James is not an amazing seamstress from what we've seen, but she is making a look inspired by Trixie Mattel, so even if she's not a great seamstress, there is no way she is going to be as bad as Candy and Lala. Jessica and James are both high, Alexis wins the lip sync and sends home Lala. Episode 10 is the Roast. Jessica and James would both do really well here, but Jessica gets the win, leaving us with a bottom 3 of Candy, James, and Alexis. Even with James in the bottom with her, Alexis is scrambling like crazy, which may come back to bite her. Regardless, Jessica beats Silky and sends home James. Episode 11 is the Makeover. Candy Muse wins and eliminates Alexis. In this episode, Candy was not choosing based off who is a bigger threat. Jessica would be stronger than Alexis in the challenge and closer with Candy. Episode 12 is going to be the Fame Games variety show. Now that she's competing, Jimbo is going to take James's spot in the top 2 and get the most undeserved double Shantae of all time with Lala Ree. This would be a bloodbath and could significantly hurt Jimbo's shot at the Fame Games win. There is nowhere near enough data to guess who would win the Fame Games, but my guess is going to be Jimbo based on her status as being double robbed, or Lala based on the multiplier and Jimbo's possible backlash after winning the lip sync. In the finale, Jessica and Candy are even in their performances, but Jessica's fan support and Candy's somewhat messy final lip sync are going to secure the win for Jessica. The next time Drag Race Race could have eliminated a frontrunner is Sam Starr to season 17, and I use that term somewhat loosely. Anya technically did have one more win, but factoring in highs and lows, they were almost even. Let's say for this one that production is judging 100% off lip-sync performances starting in this episode. Lana beats Sam and moves on to the makeover. Lana's makeover honestly looked pretty good, and I feel like she could sell it, but she's been in the bottom 4 times now, and I just can't imagine production being willing to give her the win. Susie Toot gets the win with Lana as high, Lexi as low, and then Jules and Anya lip-sync. Outside of the very specific hypothetical from earlier, the makeover was always gonna get a double save, so we are moving on to the second Final 5 challenge. I don't see Lana being particularly bad in the branding challenge, and her runway was pretty good. That said, she has been in the bottom 4 times, and she has already had her swan song performance in the makeover. Jules is gonna get the win, Anya and inexplicably Lexi are both high, and then Susie and Lana are the bottom 2. Susie wins and moves on to the finale. I have now run through the hypothetical Lollapalooza without Susie probably 5 times now. Corey wins, the end. In the finale, Susie has 3 wins and a bottom, 2 Lexi's, 2 wins, no bottoms, and Jules's 2 wins, 2 bottoms. Anya and Susie are the final 2, with Anya taking it home as she does in almost any realistic timeline. The final entry on this list is Aquaria on season 10. I don't believe Aquaria deserves to be in the bottom for the makeover, but my friends did when we watched the season, and it's an interesting hypothetical. Cracker wins the challenge, Asia and Eureka are high, Monet/Cameron is low, and the other one sends home Aquaria. Episode 11 is a runway challenge with season 10 Monet, so I think we all know how this goes. Without Aquaria being there, Asia O'Hara gets the win, Eureka places high, and then the bottom 2 is Monet, Cameron, and Cracker. Between the 3, production still wants Monet gone, so Cracker is saved, and Cameron sends home Monet. In the lip sync for the crown, Cracker's fan favorite status puts her at an equal threat level to Aquaria, Cameron sends home Asia, Eureka and Cracker get the double save, and then Cracker wins the final round, pretty much just off fan support. Alternatively, going back to the runway challenge, I feel that Cameron did better than Cracker, Cameron is low, and then Monet sends home Cracker since again, it is open season on Frontrunners. In the lip sync for the crown, Cameron beats Asia and Monet beats Eureka since again, it is open season on Frontrunners, then Cameron wins the season as the only finalist left with a win. This would be an absolutely insane timeline as well as incredibly unpopular and unlikely. That said, it's funny, so I might just go with that. Do you want non-Emmy nominated gay shit? Well then you should check out the RuPaul's Drag Race Rejudged YouTube channel and hit subscribe.